Can a single invention change the nature of human existence forever? For centuries, we thought of history as being shaped by armies, empires, and revolutions. But what if the single most important political event of the 20th century didn't happen on a battlefield, but in a laboratory in the middle of the desert? Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer shows us that the story of the atomic bomb is not just scientific history. It's a political thriller about how science, ambition, and fear collided to give humanity the power of its own extinction. Today, we're talking about the political science of Oppenheimer. Welcome back to Small Screens, Big Issues, the series where we explore political science through the lens of film and television. Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer is more than just a brilliant biopic. It's a foundational text for understanding the world we live in today. It shows how a scientific project born out of fear permanently altered international relations. In this episode, we'll use the film to explore three key concepts. First, the textbook example of the security dilemma that drove the bomb's creation. Second, how the weapon unleashed a terrifying logic of nuclear deterrence. And third, how it created the new and complicated role of scientist as political actor. For those who haven't seen it, the film follows the life of the theoretical physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer as he's recruited by the US government during World War II to lead the Manhattan Project. His mission? To build an atomic bomb before the Nazis do. But the film shows us the story doesn't end when the bomb is built. It also follows Oppenheimer's post-war life as he grapples with the consequences of his creation and is eventually targeted by the very state he helped empower. It is fundamentally a story about the intersection of science, power, and politics. So, why was this world-changing weapon built in the first place? The film is crystal clear. The motivation wasn't conquest, it was fear. The Manhattan Project was driven by a terrifying race to build the bomb before the Nazis did. This is a textbook example of what political scientists call the security dilemma. Here's how it works. When one state takes steps to make itself feel more secure, like developing a new weapon, other states see this as a threat and feel less secure, so they respond by building weapons of their own. The result isn't more safety for anyone, it's a dangerous spiral of escalation known as an arms race. In Oppenheimer, we see the birth of this dilemma. As one scientist says, we're in a race against the Nazis. But by the time the bomb is ready, Germany is surrendered, and yet the logic of fear continues, this time aimed at the Soviet Union. The bomb, once built as a counterpart to a specific threat, creates a global state of insecurity. Once the nuclear genie is out of the bottle, there's no putting it back in, and the security dilemma becomes the central operating principle of the new atomic age. The moment the Trinity test is successful, the world changes. The bomb isn't just a bigger cannon, it introduces a terrifying new logic into international relations, nuclear deterrence. Simply put, deterrence theory is the idea that you prevent war not by being able to win it, but by possessing weapons so destructive that any attack would result in the attacker's own annihilation. This grim reality became known as mutually assured destruction, or MAD. Oppenheimer shows the birth of this new world. We see it in the cold calculations of men like Secretary Stimson, who views the bomb not just as a way to end war, but as a way to manage the post-war world. After the United States monopoly on the bomb disappears with Soviet tests in 1949, international security becomes a tense game of restraint and credibility. Peace is no longer maintained through diplomacy, but through the shared promise of total annihilation. This leads to the film's most personal and perhaps most tragic theme, the moral conflict of the creator. J. Robert Oppenheimer didn't drop the bomb, but he built it.
We knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him, takes takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that one way or another.
What do we ask of scientists in service of the state? Are they just instruments of policy, or do they bear responsibility for what their discoveries make possible? Oppenheimer helped win the war, but as the Cold War escalated, he became a liability. His opposition to the even more powerful hydrogen bomb and his calls for international control over atomic energy made him politically inconvenient. He was stripped of his security clearance in a hearing designed to humiliate and silence him. This is the story of technocracy, a system where technical experts wield enormous power, and the states need to control it. It shows that science and politics are always intertwined, and that those who create knowledge are not always trusted to question its use. We see echoes of this dynamic today in debates over AI safety, genetic engineering, and climate science. The film raises questions we still struggle with. To whom do scientists owe their ultimate loyalty? To the state that funds them, or to humanity? So, what's the ultimate lesson of Oppenheimer? The film shows us that science is never apolitical. More than that, it reveals that in the modern world, the two are inseparable and often tragically so. The story of J. Robert Oppenheimer is the story of the 20th century, a world where the security dilemma drove an arms race that produced a weapon so powerful it created a new kind of stability, a stability based on fear. And the very man who gave us this ultimate power was then broken by it. Oppenheimer forces us to confront the consequences of our creations. It's a stark reminder that every technological leap forces a political reckoning. In many ways, we're still living in the shadow of that light in the world he made. The questions Oppenheimer raises are some of the biggest we can ask, and they don't have easy answers. Next time, we're trading the deserts of Los Alamos for the beaches of Sicily. We're checking into the White Lotus to see what a luxury vacation can tell us about the brutal politics of class, colonialism, and desire. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What other film do you think best captures a single moment that changed world history? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this, please subscribe for more Small Screens Big Issues. I'll see you in the next video.